Hello friends, today we are going to start a new chapter, that is agriculture, farming and its types. Now in this chapter we shall be studying about the farming and what are the different types of farming. Okay, so here agriculture, farming and its types in this chapter. The first point is that the term agriculture has its origin in the Latin word, that is agri means field and culture means to cultivate. Now this therefore what you see that agriculture refers mainly to the tilling of the fields for the growing of the crops. Now this agriculture is the most important economic activity because you see it includes growing crops, vegetables, fruits, flowers and rearing of livestock. Now all over the world, if you see the agricultural activity, then 50% of the population is engaged in agricultural activity. So this is a great percentage because the agricultural product is our daily used materials. Now 2/3 of India's population, if we talk about India, then 2/3 of India's population is still dependent on agriculture. Now for agriculture, let us try to understand that what are the factors that influence the agriculture. Now factors influencing the agriculture, if we see, then there are different factors in which some of them are physical and some are the socio-economical factors, and it has got a great influence on agriculture. Now the first factor, that is climate. See, climate is having a very crucial role in the agricultural activity throughout the world. Now this temperature and rainfall, this is not the same everywhere. Okay, and then this temperature and rainfall, this is the basic factor on which the agriculture survives. What is the temperature of a place, how much of rainfall that particular area receives. So accordingly the type of crops which grows in a region, that also varies from region to region. For examples, supposing some crops which is growing in the cold region, that cannot be grown in other area, or you can say that some crops which are growing in the very hot and humid region, so that cannot be growing. So it varies. Okay, so this cultivation, it is happening in different parts of the world, but they vary from region to region. And supposing if we say that some equatorial region or tropical regions where the hot and humid climate is there, they are favorable for a particular type of agriculture, or some cold and very winter during the winter season in cold regions, the temperature becomes very low for the plants to grow. So then there are areas which grow where the rice grows, and there are areas where jute grows. So there are different types of crops which are growing in different regions, that varies, and it is greatly influenced by the amount of rainfall which is received in that particular region. So it is the temperature and the rainfall which is the basic factors on which the growth of a crop depends. Now the next is the relief feature. Relief feature, you see, we have all discussed in the earlier chapters that the relief feature is also not the same throughout the area. Okay, so for crop growing, there are different relief features, and in different relief features different types of crops grow, because the soil which retains the water, that is also very important factor, because for the growth of the agricultural product the availability of soil is very important. So land on which the crops are grown, that are known as the arable land. Okay, the arable land, what are they? The land on which the crops grows. Then there are different other type of land which are known as low lying lands, they are the plain areas. Mountains, plateaus and plains you have studied in the earlier chapters also and in the previous classes also. So low lying areas, they are the plain areas. Then there are areas nearby to the rivers, valleys, and then there are regions where deltas are also found, and these deltas, the availability of the water in those regions, they are more suitable for cultivation of the crops than the hilly region. Why? Because in hilly region the water is drained down. Okay, so the soil is not able to retain that much of water. So only such crops can grow over here in the hilly region which require very less amount of water. So there this relief feature, it also plays a very vital role. It is very important factor. Now you will find that in low lying lands more number of people are living, because of the good facility of agriculture in such areas, because the land is flat and the agriculture becomes easier, and due to which the population has been greater in the plain areas as compared to the hilly region. Now more people, then what will happen? The labor which is available, that is also very cheap. Then more number of labors are available, for that reason the labors are very cheap. Then in flat areas, one more advantage is that plain areas, that the transportation facility to the market, because when crops is grown, so a surplus product is sold in the market. So what happened? This transportation facility, that means the roadways and other communications means through which the products are made available in the market, so it becomes very much easy in the lowland areas, and that is why this relief feature, it acts as a very important factor for the which influences the agriculture. Then the next factor is soil. We have also studied that different areas are having different types of soil. The means the soil is different, places vary in chemical composition. Now the soil formation which we had studied in the earlier chapter, there you understood that how these different types of soils are found, and the chemical composition of the soil, why it varies from region to region. So the soil is very important because it supports the plant to grow, and it is one of the medium which supplies the moisture to the and the nutrients to the plant. So different crops are growing in different types of soil, because the type of soil which varies and the minerals content in it also varies. So for all these reason, different crops grow well in different types of soil. So for a particular type of soil, every crop is not suitable, it may vary. For example, rice grows best in clayey and alluvial soil, while black soil is suitable for the production of cotton. So this is an example just to show you that different types of soil are there, and different types of soil are suitable for different types of crops. Then we have socio-economic factor. Now what is this socio-economic factor? If we find, then this factor is availability, that means what is the availability of labor, capital and market for a commodity. Whatever the crops are grown, whatever the agricultural work is been done, so it depends upon the labor, availability of labor, then what is the investment which is being made in it, so capital, and the market for the commodity. Whatever the commodity has been produced, we should have a proper market for it. And then of course the cost of farming and the system of land ownership, what type of ownership it is, whether the people are having their own land or the landless laborers are working on the land of the others. So system of land ownership, government policies, and the level of scientific and technological development, because according to the scientific and technological development, what is the availability over there, the product, the fields, or you can say the people use those technological scientific and technology and the scientific methods in the agricultural production. Okay, so all these things are influencing the agriculture of a region. This is the socio-economic factor. See, we have then we should try to understand that there are different types of farming. Just now we came to know about the factors that influence agriculture. So now let us try to understand that there are types of farming. So what are the different types of farming? Different types of farming, then majorly if you divide it into two parts, then it is subsistence farming and the commercial farming. Now we shall be knowing in detail about the subsistence farming and the commercial farming. Now, on the basis of the availability of land, agriculture can be intensive or extensive. So, the availability of the land, if you see, the subsistence agriculture is one type of farming, and this commercial farming is the other type. Now, this on the basis of availability of land, how much the land is available, the agriculture can be intensive. Okay, intensive means involving more effort in short period of time. Okay, and then on the small piece of land, it can be done, or extensive on the large piece of land. Extensive means covering a large area. Okay, so and then another thing is that they on the basis of objective of cultivation. What is the objective of cultivation? Whether it is being grown for the family use or whether it is being grown for the public as well, commercial use. So on the basis of objective of the cultivation, agriculture is mainly of two types. One is subsistence and the other is commercial. Okay, so first let us try to understand that what is subsistence agriculture. Now this subsistence agriculture is the very basic form of agriculture, and it has been further classified into intensive subsistence farming and primitive subsistence farming. Now subsistence agriculture, you see, this is very basic form of agriculture, and it has been practiced from long back, from the primitive age, and it is basically being used to meet the requirement of the, or you can say the needs of the farmers and their families. When the production, when the agricultural work is done for the fulfillment for the family and the farmers, so that type of farming is done, is known as subsistence farming. Now they sell, what happens, that very small amount of agricultural products are there with the farmers. So sometimes they sell a small amount, or they also exchange. What if supposing a farmer has grown rice and the other farmer has grown wheat, so they can have the exchange, or with the vegetables they can have an exchange. So since the amount of production which is done, agricultural production is done very small, that is why they cannot exchange a lot, but a small amount can be exchanged. Okay, and it is among the group. Among the group means the neighboring farmers, the people who are all around. So with them only they do this exchange work. They do not go to the market and have the exchange done. Okay, it is among the local community and the local people. So this subsistence farming, it has been classified into intensive subsistence farming and primitive intensive. This is primitive subsistence farming. Here you see, this is the farming done by the people. This is subsistence agriculture of India. Okay, now this subsistence, in this subsistence agriculture, we shall be understanding now about the intensive subsistence agriculture and the primitive subsistence agriculture. Two types of agriculture are the classification under the subsistence agriculture. Now the first one, that is the intensive subsistence agriculture. So what happens, maximum usage of minimum land is done. Okay, I'm sorry, there is a mistake in the spelling. Land it is written, it is land is done. Okay, LAND. So the intensive agriculture, that is maximum use of the minimum land, means very small piece of land which is being used in a to the maximum way. So what happens, that the farmer, they cultivate in the small plot of land, and the types of tools which they use, they are very simple tools and the traditional one. And then in 1 year more than one crop is grown, okay, in the same plot of land. In the same plot of land, after the harvesting of one crop, another crop is also planted. So this is common practice in some parts like China, Japan, India, and there are many other parts in the Southeast Asian countries also. And it is this intensive subsistence agriculture, it is mainly practiced in the overpopulated nations where the population is more and the crop is less. So the same piece of land is used so that the agriculture which is being done can fulfill the more requirement of the people. Most of the products is retained by the farmer for their use. See, it is subsistence agriculture, so I had told you also, so that they mainly do for the farmers, and the farmers do their from themselves and their families, and that is why this type of farming, the most of the products is retained by the farmer for their own use, and very small amount of crops are left which can be also exchanged. Now here you have one image also showing the human made inputs, that is irrigational facility, high yielding seeds. So that I shall be talking you about the inputs, and then we shall be talking it a bit later. Now what happened, there are several families that are dependent on the limited area of land. There are many families which are having small pieces of land, and what happens, due to which the land is cultivated intensively with lots of human labor, okay. The land is small and more labor is also working in that. So most of the products is retained by the farmers for their own use, because the members of the family is great and they require it for them, and that is why the farm products are retained by these farmers. Now these farmers, they are able to grow 2 or more crops. Just now I told you that more crops are grown on the same piece of land. That means after one is harvested, the second is planted again. So in this way, in 1 year 2 to 3 crops are harvested, and they are able to grow this with how are they able to grow this? They also take the help of the high quality seeds and the fertilizers and plenty of water supply. If these factors are supporting, then only this type of 2 to 3 crops can be harvested in a year. So crop rotation method and the manuring maintenance of the fertilizer of the soil. What happens when the crop rotation is done one after the other? After one crop is grown, then the second type of crop is again planted, and after the harvesting again the third type. So what happens, it also helps in the maintaining the fertility of the soil, okay. So what happens, the major crops growing, these some of the examples are given here, that the major crops which are growing are sugarcane, cotton, rice, wheat. See, these are the examples, okay. So here you will find a flow chart which is showing that the inputs in agriculture. What are the inputs in the agriculture? That human made inputs, if you talk about, then irrigation facility, then high yielding variety seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, machineries like seeds, drilling, harvesting, threshers, etc. These are the inputs in the agriculture, that is under the category of human made inputs. Then natural inputs, if you talk about, then the slope of the land, because we have already discussed that the relief features is also one of the factor of the which influences agriculture. So slope of the land, fertility of the soil, rainfall, organic manure, or the sunshine, earthworms which loosen the soil, because these earthworms are very important. They loosen the soil and they help in the good growth of the crops. So these are some of the natural inputs. So every area do not have the same type of fertility or the amount of rainfall. So the type of crop which is grown also varies. So what is the output? So what will happen, that these human made inputs and natural inputs are done, then what happens, that the outputs of the agriculture, you will find crops, dairy products, fish, meat, wool, eggs, chicken, timber. These are the outputs of the agriculture. Means here you saw that only the crops is not there, but also the livestock are also there, which are being which are also one of the type of farming which the farmers do. Then you have the primitive subsistence agriculture. Primitive, as it is very much clear from the word that it is done by the people used to be done by the people long back. So they are this type of agriculture is were mainly done by the nomadic herdings and shifting cultivation. Okay, there are two types of agriculture in this primitive subsistence agriculture, that is the nomadic herding and the shifting agriculture. So one by one we shall discuss about the first we will discuss about the nomadic herding, and then we will talk about the shifting cultivation. Okay, so nomadic herding, now what is this? Nomadic herding, nomads, you are very much familiar with this word. Nomadic herding is the most common type of herding practiced by nomads and who wander from place to place in search of pastures and water for their animals. See, they are also having lot of animals with them. So it is very important that they look for the places where their animals can also graze, and water also is available for their animals. So the main area where nomadic herding is practiced are mainly the semi-arid area or the arid regions like Sahara Desert or Central Asia. Okay, these are and there are many parts in the India also, like Jammu Kashmir, Rajasthan, where the arid areas are there. There are nomadic people who are living, and they move from one place to the other in the availability of the they look for the grazing pastures for their animals, and also where the availability of water is there. Now this nomadic herding, they carry belongings, they are, since they are moving from one place to the other, so they have many requirements for their own survival also and their own life also. So they usually carry the utensils, beddings, tents, and then at the back of the donkeys or horses or camels or carts, they carry all these things from one place to the other, and then wherever they find the pastures and the availability of water there, they again settle down. After a time period, again they move. Okay, so this is the nomadic herding which is done. Then in this type of movement, what happens, that the climatic constraints and the terrains, that is also very much important, because the what happens that they are forced for the impose of the structure, because the climatic condition or the terrains, that is the ground. Okay, so these tribal people, they earn money by selling the products which they have made out of the skin or the hair or the bones of the animals, or they rear their yaks and camels, sheep and goats. This is the cattle rearing which they do. So these are some of the things through which they earn a small amount of money, and then they move to the other place after they get a new market, and of course wherever they settle, they see to it that the availability of water and the grazing pastures are also available for their cattle. Then you have another type of cultivation, that is the shifting cultivation. Now here again, try to understand from the word itself. Shifting means moving from one place to the other. Okay, so shifting cultivation is mostly practiced by tribal people living in hilly or forest regions. Now these tribal people, they usually live in the hilly regions, and they are also found in the forest regions. So they shift from one place to the other, and if they are doing cultivation, what happens, that they have to cultivate by clearing up a patch of land. Okay, so what will happen, the practice of this method promotes deforestation. That means this shifting cultivation is the method in which a patch of land is cleared up, and there they do the cultivation work. Again, when the soil loses its fertility, then again these tribal people, they move from that place to the other. Again they will clear up a patch of land. So what will happen, this type of method of shifting cultivation, it is promoting deforestation. So is it good? No. That is why this type of cultivation was prohibited. They were restricted. So this shifting cultivation, it was practiced by the tribal people, and it is called jhum in northeast India. In north, jhum cultivation is also one of the type of cultivation which the tribal people are doing, and this shifting cultivations are mostly found in the tropical forest. And the practice of this method promotes deforestation, as I have already told you, because they clear up a patch of forest, and then these tribals sometimes they also burn down the trees and bushes to clear up a patch of land. So sometimes the forest, the number of trees which they want to burn, it is not according to the will of the people, because sometimes these fire they spread a lot and even burn the destroys the other trees. So it is very much it is a great loss for the nature. Okay, in some parts of the world it is also, that is why it is also termed as slash or burn cultivation. Here you can see the image of the forest burned for shifting cultivation. So this is how the forests are burned, and then the cultivation is done in the small piece of land which is cleared up. Now cultivate this type of cultivation, that is shifting cultivation, it is also done by the primitive people and the tribal people. So the tools which they use there, those are also primitive tools. And major crops which are grown by these people are beans, maize, millets, and some tuber crops like cassava, potatoes, tobacco. So after 2 to 3 years, what happens? As I told you that the soil, it loses its fertility and it is no more so productive. So what the people have to do? These farmers, they again leave that land and then again move to the new place where they can clear up a part of the land and then again start their agriculture. So this is all for today. So if you just have a small recapitulation of what we studied, then agriculture is a science related to the practice of cultivation, cultivating the soil, growing crops, and rearing cattle. This is one thing which we learned. Then on the basis of objectives of cultivation, agriculture is mainly of two types. One is subsistence and the other is commercial. Then subsistence agriculture is practiced to meet the needs of the farmers and their families. Then again we came to know that in intensive subsistence agriculture, most of the products is retained by the farmer for their own use. And in shifting cultivation, shifting agriculture, when soil loses its fertility, farmers shift to the other part of the land. So this is all we came to know about the factors which are responsible for our agriculture and the types of farming which is done. So in the next part we shall be talking about the commercial agriculture, and in that we shall talk about the mixed farming, then organic farming, dairy farming, and cooperative farming. This is all for today. Thank you.